Вітаю.
Hello everybody who has joined us. Media Center Ukraine in Ukrinform is going on with its work, and now we will be speaking about the expansion of the opportunities of the DIA app. We are in touch with Mstyslav Banik, the head of electronic services development at the Ministry of Digital Transformation. So, Mr. Mstyslav, we welcome you here. Do you hear us? Hello, yes, I do hear and see you. Okay, let us speak about the updates which are taking place now and what will it bring for us, users of DIA app. Yes, now we are going on with beta testing of the pension certificates and the temporary and permanent residence certificates. This is just a small testing where with the small number of people we are checking whether everything is working and properly showed and so on. The pension fund is providing additional adjustments from its side, so the pension certificates, in fact, I think that in a week or two we'll finalize the testing and we'll have this service accessible for everybody who has it. Here there will be several updates. First of all, those will be pension certificates by age. They will be automatically uploaded by the disability or by the work experience. Then you'll need to look through the list of the documents. And then there is also the button Add the document. And then we will also upload, after the additional requests, this pension certificate as well. One more important component is that pension certificates which will be generated will mostly be issued after 2017, because this is the modern register already, which has the data using which we can form the digital document. So those who have just so-called books, I mean paperback books of pension certificates, and for those who would like still to get access to the state services and to use DIA app in a more convenient way, we are insisting and advising you to get to the pension fund and to replace those older books, that is paperback ones, to have the modern type of certificates. So we are speaking about the people who had pension certificates before 2017, right? Just for them, they should get to the pension fund. Yes, it's true. True. That is true. For the same example is with the IDs, with passports. The older paperback are in the paperback registers, so we cannot create the digital document out of paper registers. And we have the foreign ones which already are shown digitally. So the same happens with the pension certificates. They are much more modern after 2017. As for the certificates for the temporary or permanent residence, we have the same condition. Those certificates which are biometrical after 2017 can be processed. Before that, they were separate, paperback, decentralized, so they have to date after 2017, both about temporary and permanent residence. So the foreigners who have the certificates and who are now in the process of getting of Ukrainian citizenship, they will have an opportunity to use all the accessible services which are offered by DIA, including Mstyslav, as of the car sharing, as for the mortgage for residents, what's happening there? As for car sharing, now, by the way, we are ongoing not only about car sharing and foreign language documents, we are trying to select people for beta testing, the people who will test those functions. As for car sharing, or legally it has the wording of the assignment of the temporary user, when you give someone the right to manage your car without providing the technical documents, but when you give the opportunity for the person to get to the register and for your technical passport to be reflected in DIA app and would allow to use the car, as well as you do. So this service has already been functioning in February, but since the 24th of February, after the Russian invasion, the state registers were disconnected. Now they're gradually restoring their work. So before just connecting this service, which was accessible before, you need to be sure that everything is working properly, everything is reflected and assigned, and in this way you will be able to get to the website of TEAM as the team.dia.gov.ua and to take part in the beta testing. Together with this service, we are also trying and beginning to the beta testing of English language versions of the driver's license and foreign passport and other documents. The person will be able to choose the language of the documents because 5.5 million of Ukrainians are now abroad, and that will really simplify for them the use of digital documents in Europe. And in fact, these documents already have the English language information, like the modern driver's license or the technical IDs have both the international coding and the name inlaid in letters and all the data. So we're also adding such an option. Moreover, that Ukraine is moving to the European Union, is the candidate to the members of European Union. So in any case, this unification of documents will allow to freely use this document abroad. If we are speaking about the permit of the child to live abroad, I know that you have some of the developments about this child's departure abroad here as well. How will it take place? So far, it's difficult to say about the time periods, honestly speaking. We are starting this sphere together with the Ministry of Justice, and of course, such a function which seems to be very simple, that is just the permit for one of the parents for a child's departure abroad, seems to be simple, but it needs lots of legislation amendments from the parliament. So we have involved the Line Committee of the MPs, we've involved the experts on the notaries, and also the Ministry of Justice. This is the very complex change and amendment which is, I would say, revolutionary, because it may become the first experience of the notary service transfer online, when through Dia app the parents will be able to cooperate and generate such a document. But I do hope that in the short-term perspective it will be able to provide it, because the support of the idea to implement this service from the people is incredibly powerful. So many people are interested in that. Moreover, in spite of the situation that after the Russian invasion in February, lots of people left abroad with children without having any permits for child's departure, but still, in any case, they will have to come back to what should be, so we should use these permits later. This is how we will simplify the lives of many people. This is a kind of the political will from all of the sides, so we need to work on that properly. Mstyslav, coming back to the issue about pension certificates. The pensioners who have the older paperback certificates, if they do not replace it and do not change it in the pension fund, they won't be able to add it to the app. Am I right? Yes. Yes, it is right. As those who the people who are really of very pension age, of older age, they do not upload the documents to DIA. They do not scan documents. They do not introduce and upload the pictures or the serious number. The documents are emerging automatically according to the data from the register. So even if you need to add the document, it means that we will provide an additional request for your document. So the paperback documents cannot be found in the register. So we don't have a place where to take the data from to generate the pension certificate in DIA app. As of the temporary displaced persons, we know that such functions were found in DIA as well. For the people who had e-documents, ID cards, they were able to download it without any issues to the DIA app. So if those people who already got these documents of the temporary displaced person will they be able to add it to their DIA app? Or this situation is the same as with the pension certificate? No, here everything is much better. Yes, unfortunately we have some of the refugees, but it is still, the situation is better. The certificates for the refugees or for the IDPs emerged in 2014, and all this data were digitized, all this data are accessible in the register, and even the certificates before the Russian invasion, the certificates which were accessible in the paperback form of 2015, 2014, they can be shown. So now, the people who are using the services for the internally displaced people after the Russian invasion who wanted to get such a status, they automatically get the certificate of the refugee, which is emerging with all of the documents. Thank you for the information. What about the questions? Don't forget to introduce yourself. Ukrinform, Vitaly Golod, could you please tell? I've got two questions. First, to clarify. As for the beta testing, especially about the car sharing, I heard that it is recommended for the people for the Ukrainians who are abroad. Is the participants of the Ukrainians who are in Ukraine possible? And secondly, as for the certificates for residence, how will they look like? The DIA app for these certificates, how will it look like? Thank you. So, in fact, as of beta testing, anybody can join the process, of course. There are no restrictions, and in any case, we will never check whether the person is located abroad or not abroad for beta testing. We just additionally drove the attention for the people who are abroad because we know that there are lots of people who have left without having a single document, ID documents, or maybe even documents while they were evacuating any driver's license or technical IDs. So anybody can register for beta testing, anybody. Just this is an additional convenience for those who are already abroad and would like to try it. As of the mortgage, now we are ongoing with the developing and processing of this procedure. I cannot tell you any ideas how this service will look like. So far, the conditions which were announced by the president are known. That first there will be the first stage, and at the stage 1, the people can apply who are the military servicemen, the medics, the scientists, or the pedagogical employees, and they will have a kind of 3% discount for the mortgage loan with at least 20% of the first payment up to several years. We won't only focus on DIA app because almost 18 million of users already installed it, so there are lots of people who will be able to get this service. Moreover, there are lots of displaced people, and so we can be speaking about the access to the web portal, which is not that accessible as mobile services in DIA app. Yes, I mean that it's much more convenient to use the cell phone. Yes, we have more questions? Yes. Valentin Banik, Viz TV, could you please tell which countries do we share experience with? And does the state get money for that? And does DIA plan to introduce the labor registration? So as for sharing experience, we have some negotiations with Estonia, we have the negotiations with Poland, Moldova, all the countries which are particularly facing Ukrainians who came with digital documents. Those countries are now even more interested in such solutions. Lots of them, in comparison with Ukrainians, had the breakthrough in digitalization 10 to 15 years ago, and they have a bit of a slowdown of this process. So now we're sharing experience. No, we are not taking money for that, because sharing experience is about the solutions which we developed. I don't know why we have the barcode or the QR code in the ID, or why it exists for 3 minutes only. There are lots of developments, so all of this is the outcome of our developments. As of the e-work record book at the web portal of DIA in your own cabinet, you can have the profile, you have the function of your work experience, work record. After authorizing it, the web portal of DIA, you can look it up. And I'm reminding you that since December, you can also get the certificate about the work and insurance experience and year record, which can be necessary as well. I thank you. I remind you, we had Mstyslav Banik, who is the head of electronic services development at the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Thank you for such an important information. Dear colleagues, I remind you that at 1 p.m. we will be joined by Sergei Kuyun, director of consulting group A95, and we will be speaking about the prospects of the fuel market of Ukraine. Stay with us.